All right, so we're here with Stuart Weiss, the owner of City Garage Motorsports, and he's behind this beauty right here, the Ford Fusion Arca Menards car for Becca Monopoly and for City Garage Motorsports. Stuart, this has been a wild journey for you guys. 4.5 months. Jason talked a bit about it. You guys kind of talked about this opportunity in February at Daytona, just trying to get this off the ground and to see the car here, you guys being able to race at IRP. Let's talk a little bit about what this has been like for you guys, getting this car out on track and being able to race it for the first time at IRP. It's been a long journey, but an exciting one for you guys.
It has. We've been drinking from a fire hose and trying to get as much as we can up in place as quick as we can. We've had a lot of help. You know, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for several people in the race industry. Andy Hillenberg, Willie Mullins, and his wife Dinah have been just absolutely invaluable. And you know, we're trying to do it the right way. We're trying to get in and be a good member of ARCA and do things right. It's just been a lot. It's a lot to take in and to do in a very short period of time.
Absolutely. Now, talking a bit about this car, this is obviously a Ford Fusion. This is a car that we've seen a lot in the early 2010s and later 2010s. Obviously, this is, I believe, the Gen 6, if I'm not mistaken.
This is actually a Gen 4. This is a 2015 Ronnie Hopkins Engineering Ford Fusion. The body is the Fusion, the chassis is Ronnie Hopkins. And so we purchased this from Willie Mullins, who sat on the pole for Daytona, has been racing in ARCA for a long time, been just a wealth of help for us. He helped us in getting this car. Went up to Fredericksburg, Virginia in April and picked it up, brought it back down, and we've been working on it ever since.
Many people may not know how much horsepower is behind one of these bad boys. Can you talk a little bit about the engine and some of the components in the car as well?
This has what they call a spec engine. There's 3 engines that you can run in ARCA. They're all basically spec type engines. One is the Ilmor. It's kind of the big dog. That's the one that everybody pretty much runs on the bigger tracks that are 1 mile or over. This is a Roush Ace engine, which is spec motor. So it's typically a small track motor, and then you have the SB2 or the Legacy motor, which some teams are also running.
Roush Yates, that's a good company, obviously, with good brand and motor, and obviously they've had a lot of success with their motors. How cool is it to be able to work on that type of machinery? And this is a lot different than working on, you can see in the background, you got some road cars. This is a different venture, working on an ARCA car. So has it been a learning process with just learning about this car and learning how to work on it and just getting to see the different components? There's definitely a lot more in this car than there is sometimes in a road car.
It is, and not only that, you have to have people who have knowledge. This is not something you just jump into. I haven't worked on cars in 30 years. I had a race car 30 years ago. It's way different than this one was. And so you have to have people who know what they're doing, who can get in there and get their hands dirty, put things together. We were blessed with the monopolies coming. Tom as a crew chief and Becca as a driver, which has helped us with our knowledge, closing that gap on knowledge. Everything on these cars are pretty much custom built, so it's way different than what you work on your car on a Friday or Saturday in your garage. It's been surreal. It's been surreal. We've been up to the NASCAR R&D facility a couple of times, had to do things up there, which has been surreal. Getting to work with them, it's been really an amazing opportunity.
Coming out of IRP, what were you able to kind of take away from the first experience, being at the track, being able to be around the teams? You were obviously, Jason was mentioning you guys were at Daytona, you guys were at Talladega. So what were you kind of able to take away from just being around the garages that you have used in this opportunity, in this venture, being able to field this ARCA car out on track? What have you been able to take away? How's that helped you in this process, getting this car ready for IRP and obviously for now Toledo coming up?
Well, we wanted to be able to race this year. We wanted to start a team. We were really focusing on next year originally, but we knew that we needed this year to get some experience, to learn what to do. When you get to the track, how do you go through tech? Where do you go? What happens during qualifying? What happens during practice? All these things are things that if you've never been to the track and you're learning, you need to know how to do. So IRP was a huge learning curve for us. It was basically getting an opportunity to experience, learn what we needed to do, make sure the car was right, make sure everything was done right, make sure it would go through tech, make sure it would perform. And I felt like for our first event, qualified 19 out of 31 cars. We were running in 20th, 21st place most of the night. Car was running well. We had actually made improvements at the halfway point, and the car was really I felt like starting to come around about then, and we started feeling like we're learning a little bit, and that was really what it's all about: learning the car, learning the league, learning everybody else, all the competitors around us, and I felt like we gained a wealth of knowledge from IRP. Didn't like the way it ended. We ended up putting it in the outside wall and damaged it, but as part of racing, you have to be able to recover from that.
Yeah, how has the recovery process been like, rebuilding the car? Is there any parts of the car that you've had to kind of change out? What has kind of been that big thing in regards to getting back to the full strength with the car?
The only thing that's left that's original are the doors.
Really?
The greenhouse, the hood, and the trunk. Everything else is brand new. That's all new body panels. The car, we did a good job. Not only did we crush the front end, we got hit and spun and took out both quarter panels in the rear deck as well. So we did a good job on it. So had to replace the radiator. There's a lot of things that we're working on to get ready to go back to Toledo in October.
Has it been nice to go through this process now, especially early on? I know it's not obviously the most ideal situation you guys have hoped for the first race, but I imagine you guys are able to learn a lot from this experience, and it prepares you for what could come in the future if you ever have something like this happen again, because you just never know. NASCAR's a crazy sport, and it's beating and banging out there sometimes, especially in the ARCA series, where you got a lot of young, hungry drivers who are continually wanting to grow themselves.
Yes and no. No, and because it's been expensive for us, we would have rather used this time to fix the things that the car needed to be fixed for the next race. Yes, in that we've learned and we've made some great connections with some amazing people. Gadget did an amazing job in putting this car back together in 10 days for us. He's over in DeLand, been around racing forever. He did an amazing job for us and turned it around. Could have used the money in the bank to try to get the car better, but again, when you're in racing, that's part of it. And, if you can't afford to fix a car, then you don't need to be doing it. And so for us, we're recovering from it, and we're growing from it, and hopefully it's going to make us a better team. Thankfully, we didn't take anybody else out in the accident, so, at least there we were a good teammate on the track, at least, so for everybody else, in that we didn't get anybody else caught up in our mess. But
how important has Becca's feedback been in regards to preparing the car? Obviously, she's had some experience in ARCA. It's a limited amount of experience, but she does have experience in the car and racing these type of vehicles. So how important has her feedback been in just getting this car prepped, ready for IRP, and then obviously now getting it ready for Toledo? I imagine she's probably allowed you guys, giving you guys a lot of insight over these last few months.
Becca's been amazing. The learning curve, she's used to driving cars that are much lighter.
Yeah.
She's used to running tracks that she runs New Smyrna, she runs Auburndale, Citrus, Fun Factory. There's a lot of tracks that she's really used to. So all these tracks that we're going to are tracks that she's never been on before. So she's learning the car, she's learning the tracks. So there's a real learning curve for her as well. But she is adjusting. I think she's doing really well. She really was running pretty good considering her first time at the track and in the car. We only had about 40 laps on it, 50 laps on it. We took it to New Smyrna and tested before we went to IRP. So, I think she's developing. I think she's gonna be great. I see flashes of greatness in her, and I felt like she was really running really well. Not sure what happened to cause the accident. We looked at the video. She never felt anything different until it broke loose, and when she tried to correct it, overcorrected, went in the wall. We're going to check the rear gear on it, make sure that the spider gear in the back didn't mess up on it. It is one of these things. But we're real happy. Becca's doing a great job. She's preparing for Toledo. She's trying to get some sim time and be prepared as well as she can be for that event as well.
Absolutely, and you have to obviously prep the car for her as well in terms of the inside of the car, getting the seat ready for her. So just talk a little bit about that. The inside is all custom fit for her to make it as comfortable as possible for her to race in these cars. So can you just talk a little bit about that and just kind of how it's set up for her and her making basically?
Yep. Well, ARCA is part of NASCAR, so safety is a huge issue for them. So these cars are extremely safe. The seats that are in there, the all-belt seat, everything in this thing is meant for her to be safe and comfortable. And so from the time we bought the car from Willie, we had to adapt it for her. And so the car is custom made for her. It fits her like a glove. And so the more comfortable she is, the better she's going to drive. And so our job as a team is to make sure she has all those pieces to be successful. And we're thankful. We actually have a great sponsor, Orlando Health, who's our official healthcare provider. They came on board and are helping us put this together. And so for us as a startup team, that's just unheard of, to be able to have that kind of support, have a great driver, have a great team in a very short period of time. We're really excited about where we are.
How important has she been as kind of almost an ambassador of this team, and also being kind of a spokesperson as well? She's obviously representing women in racing and just women in sports, which has become a huge part, I think, nowadays of sports in general. Just seeing the growth of female racing and also just the growth of females in sports as well, and how high of a level they compete at. It's pretty cool to have her representing you guys, and she's really a spokesperson in more ways than one in many different areas and categories. So how cool is that to be able to have her kind of supporting this team and helping you guys kind of grow in this process?
Well, anybody who knows anything about Florida racing, they know Becca, the monopolies, they know Becca. You mention her name anywhere in the racing world in Florida, they know her. So the monopolies are well respected. They're an amazing family. If you get to meet her, she's just gregarious, outgoing, wonderful, amazing person. She's been a great ambassador for our brand and for our team, as well as for our sponsors. So we're really excited about where we are. You know, got some legs under us at IRP, and we're ready for Toledo. So we're excited about next step in our growth.
In regards to being able to kind of tool the car to get it ready for IRP, and then obviously for Toledo, it's obviously in a short track package. So how do you guys tool that? How do you guys kind of adjust things to make it as give you guys as best of a chance to be able to be competitive and be able to succeed on track? So what are you guys able to tool with the car? And I know there's obviously regulations, but you want to be able to have the best of a car as possible when you guys hit the track. So what have you guys kind of adjusted and got and used to your advantage here with this car?
Well, we learned a lot at IRP and how to adjust the car. We learned that there were some things in the front end, that in the suspension, that needs to be adjusted. We didn't notice that until we got into the race, so we're going to make some adjustments there. We'll take the car back to New Smyrna and we'll test it over there to make sure the car is all ready to go. We've made some great partnership with Fast Track Racing, which is Andy Hillenberg and Chris Van Scoy and them up there. They've helped us get the car set up. We'll take it to them again, help them get set up. We work with Rev Racing and Steve over there, Plattenberger, to get the shocks done. And so we have some connections with some great people who are helping us get the car where it needs to be. We've just got to learn as a team how to adjust it, especially when we get to the track. You know, if the car's a little bit loose, what adjustments do we need to make? How does the car respond to those adjustments? Those are the things we're trying to learn, and the only way you learn that is by seat time. It's the same thing for Becca. You know, Becca's got to know, okay, if the car's running loose, do I run a little bit higher? Do I get on the gas later? Do I get on the brakes harder? Do I adjust the bias in the brakes? I mean, she's learning the car as well. So, you know, every lap that she turns, it's a benefit for us, and it's a growth for our team.
Absolutely. Obviously, it's more than just a car. You have obviously your crew, your team that you have behind you working on the car, and then obviously you have your pit boxes. You need everything. Which I know we'll see some of that here in a second, but just talk about how beneficial it has been to have that support behind you, to have this crew. I mean, they're working on it right now. Yeah. You guys are hard at work getting this car ready for Toledo. You even have I'll show the clock over there. So you guys are hard at work, even you know, going into Toledo. You guys have 60 days, but you guys still have to get this car ready and prep to get it race ready for Toledo. So you guys have a really good support group behind you.
Yeah, we learned a lot about what not to do when we went to IRP when it comes to everything else. The car itself, we felt like was in a really good place. We took it to some people who know what they're doing, a Fast Track, got it set up, it was running decent, we made some adjustments to it. But when it came to pitting, other things, you know, the things that we had weren't good enough. That's been the hardest learning curve for me, is not getting a car on the track. I know we've got the right people to take it to, we've got the right people working on it, we've got the right person driving it. It's, you know, you have to take your shop to the track. You've got to be able to pitch your car and make the adjustments in a 5-minute period of time. You've got to be able to have the right equipment to do it. That's what's been really hard for me, is to make sure where do I need to spend my money?
Yeah.
You know, well, listen, in racing, you say racing, it automatically adds 2 zeros to anything that you want to buy. So where do you spend your money? Do I spend it on pit guns? Do I spend it on, you know, pit carts? Do I spend it, or do I spend it on the car? And so it's been that balance as an owner, trying to learn where do I put the money to make us the best team we can be. And that's what I'm learning right now. That's where I'm trying to continue to grow. We learned what not to do at IRP, so I'm trying to make some improvements on that for Toledo. And so that our goal is when we hit the season opener next year at Daytona, our team is in a lot better position than where we were starting at IRP. and we can go out there, perform well. Listen, there was 50 cars at Daytona in February. 10 cars went home. Our goal as a new team is to make sure we're not one of those 10 going home. We want to be in a Daytona race, and we want to compete, and we want to do well. So everything we're doing is preparing for next year to make sure that we're able to. We're going to run almost half the season next year. Our goal is going to be a good competing team in this league with everybody else, and the only way we're going to do that is by learning, and that's what we're doing right now.
You talked a little bit about you had to replace a few pieces in the car in terms of the engine. You had to replace the radiator and certain components. How, in regards to, you obviously are a working shop, you're more than just an Arkham and Arts shop. You guys also have, as we mentioned, you guys have road cars you work on, you do auto repairs, but you have to have race components in this car. You can't just use your typical road car. So how does that process work in regards to ordering the pieces, being able to bring in those resources? Because it's not the same where you can just go to Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone and you're not going to be able to get a race transmission. So how does that work in regards to getting these pieces, getting the resources available to be able to have that, to be able to help rebuild a car and have that?
Racing is about who you have to know the right people and know where to go, and that's where I said our learning curve has been shortened by a lot of really good people like Andy Holmberg and Willie Mullins and them, because we just can't go down to the corner store like you said, and to buy brand new stuff is very expensive. And so knowing what to buy, when to buy it, where to go, even when it came to me wrecking the car, Andy was the first one that came to me and said, hey, call Gadget, get him to fix your car. Whereas because I had no idea where I was going to start in getting the body put back together. So it's important to know the right people, and that's the key right now, is making sure we know who to contact, who to reach out to get certain things. We've gone to North Carolina since February. I think we've been there no less than half a dozen times, and that's all been in trying to make sure we get the equipment, because that's where Racing Hub is in North Carolina, and anything you need, it's typically in North Carolina.
Absolutely.
So we do take a lot of trips up there to make sure we get it. Until we build a bunch of spare parts and get extra cars and do all that stuff, it's going to be that continual process of having to find the right people and go and get stuff, bring it back, put it together, and keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, obviously, we have some of your stuff over here. Let's go take a look. Sure. Obviously, we have the toolbox, and that, I'm assuming those are pieces from the actual car at IRP.
This is these are the body parts that were worth. We're going to try to keep them, and we have a couple sponsors that we're going to give parts to that have their logos on them. We're going to get them autographed by Becca and give it to them, kind of as a thank you for what they do. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for Orlando Health and Floral and all the different sponsors that come in and help us out. But yeah, these are the pieces that are left over from the car. That the only ones that are worth keeping anyway, and we're gonna make sure we get those to the right places. But obviously, you have a pit card, and that carries everything you have in it, from your pit crew gear, from helmets to race suits. It has all your pit guns. It has everything you would need, jack stands, everything you would need in the pits is in that thing. This here is also a secondary pit cart, which has a generator in it that allows you to have power when you're there. These are all of our spare. These are our tires actually from IRP. These are that was our qualifying, our practice tires. These were our practice tires. These were our first 100 laps, and then the other ones we had about 25 laps on it when we wrecked. So those are our 3 sets of tires from IRP. Everything else is fuel cans. I mean, everything else you get is just kind of learning and growing. Our race shop is nothing compared to ones that have been doing it for 5 years. I mean, you'll have 10 times as much stuff, and you have to, unfortunately.
Yeah, you talked about testing a new Smyrna. How beneficial is that for you guys? Just, again, getting that intel, getting that data, just continuing to grow as a team. And obviously, this is just, you guys are kind of stepping stones right now as you guys kind of get towards next season and progress into what should be a pretty busy year for you guys in 2025. So just talk about how important those type of tests are, these races are, just being able to grow as a team and being able to kind of learn what it's like being in NASCAR and being at ARCA, especially representing this area as well. It's pretty cool. You guys kind of are the hometown team, and you're almost a hometown state team, if you will, as well, because not a lot of race teams out of Florida, which is cool, I think, to be able to see you guys representing this state and representing this area.
Well, I'm learning why there's not a lot of teams in Florida, because you have to travel a ton. But we go to New Smyrna because New Smyrna is probably the best track that we can get a good gauge on where the car's running. It's a good half mile. It allows us to really shake it down. The gearing, like when we tested for IRP, the gearing wasn't the same, so it didn't rev out as high because IRP had longer straightaways, and it doesn't necessarily match all the handling, but it does allow us to shake the car down, make sure the brakes are working well, make sure the car's coming up to temperature, and make sure everything's working properly, make sure there's no leaks. If there's anything binding in the suspension when you go into a turn, if you're getting a rub anywhere, it'll tell you those are the kind of things that we have to learn, especially after wrecking a car, for us to go back to a track now to be able to test it and see, hey, what do we need to fix to be able to get to Toledo? Because the last thing we want to do is travel 20 hours to Toledo, unload our car, go out to run, and we get 3 laps in and something happens that we didn't know about and we can't race. Yeah. And so for us, it's way too valuable for us to be able to take it down the road here, 2 hours down the road, and test it for an afternoon to make sure it's ready to go. And that's what we want. I mean, we want to put the best product on the track when we go there. Our name is on it, our brand is on it. I have a great driver who's counting on that car to be able to perform. Do I think we're going to be able to go win right now? No. I mean, we're not anywhere near there. But we want to get better every race. We qualified 19th last race. Would have liked to have finished in the top 20. We didn't because of the accident. But my goal is to qualify better than 19th at the next race and finish in the top 20 or top 15. And then the next race would be, we want to make small step increases every race, which means we're growing and learning. And that's what we're trying to do as a team.
What is it like to see the local support for Lakeland just kind of giving you guys so much backing? I mean, we saw the watch party had really good crowd and people really coming out to support the local team. Obviously, it's neat to be able to have one in the area. So what has it been like to just hear all the good positive feedback and the support from everybody around the area? Not only from your sponsors, but also people who are just racing fans and enjoy to see a team like you guys perform well and represent this area proudly.
It's Lakeland and Polk County is an amazing place to live and grow. Yeah. The businesses here have been amazing. We've had, Orlando Health is building a brand new hospital here. They're totally in and committed to Polk County and Lakeland. Floralon and Swan Brewing and Cruise Bank and Trust and all the local businesses. They have just been amazing. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for them. And we had a huge viewing party up at Swan Brewing. It was great. My wife and children went to watch it there to have a great time. It was packed. Had a blast. Tonight we're going to an event down in downtown Lakeland for one of our sponsors, and the community involvement's been great. We have people stop by here all the time just to look at the car and take a picture, to get a hero card. We get emails and calls. It really has been truly amazing to get the amount of support locally that we have. And it's been really refreshing because we didn't know if we would get much support, being that it's a national league. So we race a lot in the Midwest. We race in North Carolina. We race up in Dover. We race in the only races in Florida is Pensacola and Daytona. Yeah. So we didn't know how much support we would have, but it's been great. With Fox Sports covering all the races and Flow Racing, all of our fans get a chance to be involved. And for us, it's just been a really, really great experience.
What's next for you guys? I know Jason kind of talked a bit about it. I know it's hard to talk about it just in the present day because there's so much work that still needs to be done for you guys in regards to growing the brand and growing the team and such. But what is that goal? What is there a goal? Is it what's kind of that next step here going forward for you guys?
Well, our goal is to continue to grow. Our goal is to finish a race, not to wreck. Our goal is to finish a race. That's number one. Toledo, our goal is to finish a race. Finish in the top 15 would be a win for us going to Toledo. Our goal is to be a competing team. I don't know if we'll be competing for wins in the next year or two or whenever, but we want to get out and just be competitive. We want to get another car. We want to be able to have more than one car because in this league you run short tracks, you run dirt, you run road courses, and you run super speedways. So you have to have more than one car. So our goal is to try to get more cars and more parts. Our goal is to get more sponsors because racing costs money. And if you're racing a national league, a national touring series, it's expensive to go racing. And so for us, we're looking for more support, and I think we'll get it. We're doing everything we can to do it the right way. And I think there's some great people out there that will still partner with us, just like Orlando Health did. And our plan is to be in this business for a long time. We don't want to be a 1 or 2 year flash in the pan and get out. Our goal is to build for the future and be a good competitor with everybody else. And that's one thing I want to touch on. We didn't know what we were getting into when we started in February and we went to Daytona, but Everybody we've met in that pits is just amazing. Even though our competitors are who we're racing against, 99% of them will give you whatever you need. If something breaks on your car, they'll give you something to fix it so you can race. They want you on the track. They want the league to be competitive. They want a quality series to race in, and we want to be a great teammate for them. We want to be out there and do things right. You know, we don't want to get anybody's way. If they're faster than us, we want to be able to go out and compete clean, help anybody, and we want to be a good member as well and part of that family and community of ARCA. And so they've welcomed us with open arms, and we're extremely thankful, and hopefully, you know, that we'll be able to return the favors to them for what they've done for us.
Absolutely. And having all those partners, do you see the team maybe growing to maybe a truck series team at some day, or, you know, having a truck team? I mean, I know it's hard to say now, but do you hope that maybe someday that is something, or an Xfinity? I mean, I know the possibilities can be endless.
Listen, I love racing. My dad was big into racing, and I grew up going to racetracks all the country. I raced when I was in my 20s, back before I realized how expensive it was, and had a family. And you know, I would right now I just want to race, and so ARCA is where we want to be. We're kind of let our team direct our team and our success or lack of direct where we go. You know, I mean, if we have a lot of growth to do here. I can't even think about anywhere else right now.
Absolutely.
So right now, my sole focus is making sure the 85 Orlando Health Ford Fusion is the best car that Becca Monopoly can have to drive. And, you know, if our car is a 15th place car, we want to finish in 14th place. If we're, you know, a 20th place car, I want to finish in 19th place. I always want to overachieve, and I want us to be able to do things that you know, we didn't think we could do, and be competitive. That's what we want to do.
And it's cool too, you guys are doing it really for the love of racing. You guys just love this sport. I think that's really a testament to not only you guys, but also your work ethic as well, what you guys are doing out here. Just seeing you guys get this car prepared. Everybody loves racing here, it seems like, and I think that's a real big testament to the team and what you guys are doing and what's to come.
Well, and you saw it's a community. You saw, I mean, right now we're trying to get this. We've been working nonstop for 2 weeks to get this car ready, because one of our sponsors has a huge event tonight that they want us to bring the car to, and so for me, that's my obligation. My obligation is to make it to the track, and my obligation is to make it to sponsor. So we have 6 guys right now working on the car, crawling all over it to make sure it's ready for tonight. And that's my job, that's my goal, and I love it. And so we're going to continue to be the best team we can be, and continue to grow and do things the right way. You know, I mean, I always feel like if you do things the right way, the good things will happen.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, Stuart, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for allowing me to come out here. Obviously, this is really awesome to be able to be at a working ARCA garage, seeing the ins and outs of everything, seeing your team. We're hard at work. I know Jason, I mentioned Becca's dad is here actually working right now. He's a crew chief for you guys, and it's just cool to see. Not only is this a family thing, this is a community thing. You guys are bringing people together, but I also think it's cool that you guys are doing it on a national stage and promoting this area. I think it's a really cool testament to you guys.
Appreciate that. I invite you to come out tonight. We're gonna have a big function up in downtown Lakeland and for Orlando Health, and come see it. We'll be out there with our driver, with our entire family, and the entire crew. We'll be out there signing autographs, meeting people tonight. So invite you to come.
And where can people get involved with City Garage?
Go to citygaragemotorsports.com. There we have you can bottom of the every page has a sign up to get our newsletter and get involved. Send us an email if you want. You know, we've gotten emails even from out of the country, Belgium, sending us emails with questions, asking for, you know, hey, can you send me hero cards or whatever. Awesome. You know, we respond to everybody who asks us questions. So we'd love for anybody to reach out through our website. We're also at CG Motorsports FL. Is our tag for Instagram, Facebook, I think Twitter as well. City Garage Motorsports on Facebook, I think. But reach out. We'd love to hear from anybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stuart. Appreciate it. And obviously, good luck here over the next few weeks as you guys get ready for Toledo.